What's up, VideoFort Nation? I'm Magic Bard, and for today I'm going to show you guys how to do the Pixel commercial, but with the iPhone, because iPhone rules and Apple's better. Now I want to get straight into this one, so I'm just going to jump in and give you guys some shout outs to Fred and the Dalek. Appreciate the love, guys. Thanks for leaving us comments, letting us know what's good. If you're new to VideoFort, hit that subscribe button and hit the little bell icon right next to it, so that way you'll be notified every time we put out a new tutorial every single week. Now, let's jump into it. Alright guys, so first let me show you this Google Pixel commercial that you guys have probably seen on TV. So you have the search bar that turns into the Google Pixel phone, right? So we'll actually be doing an iPhone because I have an iPhone and iPhones are more superior. Okay. But yeah, guys, basically straight to the point, we have a mask that transforms from a search bar into a phone. So if you've seen my other tutorials, you probably know how to do that by using track mats, and then it flips around right here into the Google Pixel phone, and then you can see we can add some motion blur to it here, so that when it's flipping, it blurs it out, right? And then you have your text, which you guys know how to add. So let's check it out, see what we can do. So I made this kind of roughly, really quickly to show you guys. I made my search bar with the Siri icon, and what I did was, this is a solid layer that I added a rounded rectangle mask to, and then I added a stroke effect. So stroke right here to get that nice little black outline around it. I added a nice little text ticker, which is really easy to do. Let me show you. If I hit U, I can show you the keyframes and zoom in here. It's just I just turned the opacity on and off, right? So 100% to 0%, back to 100. So that's how you can create a nice little ticker, text ticker tool. And then of course the Siri icon logo over here in the corner, and then boom, we get into our morphing from the search bar into the phone. And then a little different from the Google Pixel commercial, what we will be doing is adding some buttons to our phone mask. Okay, so let's dive into it and add some text. And let's try it out. So what we're gonna do is, once you have your video all created, all cut, all done, just take that, and I have this stock footage that I'm gonna use, and drag it into a new comp. Okay, so this is basically your commercial. I have a nice little lighthouse that I got from VideoFort.com, and now we can add our masks and stuff. So I just showed you how to create the search bar. So we're not going to do that. I'm just going to show you how to create the mask. Okay, so not like that. What we're going to do is create a layer, new, solid, and any color you want. And then one more layer, new, solid, and this one will be white, because this is your background. So whatever color you want your background, change it right here. Press OK. Put that white background on the bottom. Take this red solid and take your rounded rectangle tool or the regular rectangle tool and create your search bar. And if you hold down the space bar, you can move that search bar around, right? So let's kind of put that in the middle here, and that will be our search bar. So now we're going to go to the very beginning and open up the mask path and keyframe that. Go out to 10 seconds or however long you want this transition to happen, and let's add our iPhone here. So I'm going to add the iPhone PNG file and put it right here in the middle, and take our red solid, I'm going to put this iPhone right under the red solid. And I'm actually going to press T for opacity, drop that down to 50% so I could see through it, and then select my points and put them on the corners of my iPhone, right? So take these 2 points and drag them up. Take these bottom right corner points, drag them down to the right corner, and these left corner points. So, you know, obviously I'm not being really precise with it, because what I'm going to do is zoom in here and get them right where I want them. So I'm going to take my rounded corner points right here. Then all I have to do is take these little handlebars, drag them out to create that nice round edge. Like that. If I hold down Shift, then it'll just be a nice straight handlebar. So I'm going to go over here and do this all around the phone until I get what I want. Okay, and I'm going to go relatively quickly with this one for the sake of the tutorial. This is how you can create your edge for your phone. So obviously you guys don't have to use an iPhone. You can use whatever phone you want, Android, Nokia if you're really old school, BlackBerry, I don't know. And just create the outline of the phone here. And then what we'll also do is add some buttons to it. So making sure that your playhead is at the 10 seconds. So I'm going to press U so we can see our keyframes. So making sure that you're at the same keyframe at the end. And we're going to go to this add vertex tool, so the pen tool with the plus sign on it, and then start to add some points for the button. So what I'm doing is the top of the button, I put a vertex point, and then the bottom of the button I put another one. I press V on my keyboard and then make a little hill like that. Go down to this button, do the exact same thing. So the top of it right there, the bottom of it right there, top of it right here, bottom of it right there, make a hill. Okay, really easy. And then we'll take that on and off switch and create a button right there. Boom, boom. Cool. And we'll also make one last one, the lightning connector, the charging port. So I'll create one right here, and instead of a hill we'll make a valley. Drop it down like that. Okay, fit it back in and press T for opacity, turn that up to 100% and watch it morph. Okay, and you guys can see the buttons coming in as well. Cool. Now what we're going to do is let's hide this iPhone for now, drop it below our stock footage. I'll just rename this to stock footage. And what we're going to do is hit that toggle switches and modes, and then under the track mat, turn it from no track mat to alpha mat, and boom, you have your commercial, your Google Pixel commercial created just like that. Alright, cool. So the other thing is, you know, my lighthouse isn't really in the shot, so what I'm going to do is select the stock footage layer, press P for position, and then I can move it into place, right? So that's a nice little trick. Once you've created your track mat, like that. Cool. Alright, so that's how we create our little animation. Now what we want to do is rotate the phone around and see the actual phone, right? Just like the commercial. So it's going to come into here and it's going to rotate. We're going to see the back of the phone and then rotate one more time to see the front. So I can, we don't need that yet. What I'm going to do is take both of these layers, so the red solid and the stock footage, and pre-compose them. So layer, pre-compose, and we'll just call this our iPhone matte layer. Press OK. we've got that. Now let's go to the iPhone back that I have. So I'm going to just drag this guy right onto here and size him down into place. I'm going to hit T for opacity so I can see through him, bring it down to 50%, and wow, am I lucky by putting it almost exactly on there. S for scale, maybe 80%. Let's see what we got. No, too small. 82. Okay, so now I'm just messing around with it, right? 81% will be good. Okay, now we got to make sure the buttons are in the right place. So I'm going to hit T for opacity, bring it back up to 100%. And I have my volume buttons on this side when they should be on this side, right? So I'm going to make this a 3D object and take the Y rotation and just oops, definitely not the X. Take the Y rotation and rotate it so that my plus and minus signs are on this side. So 180-degree flip, and right here is good. Now it's okay that the buttons don't exactly match up because the phone will be rotating so quickly no one's going to notice. So what we're going to do is take this iPhone back, put it under my matte layer, and I can trim it down for now. And what we're going to do is, with the iPhone matte layer selected, make sure that is a 3D object as well. Press R for rotation and connect the iPhone 7 back to the iPhone matte layer. And then we're going to create this rotation. So hit that keyframe on the Y rotation, and maybe it'll take a second to rotate around. So rotate it out to about 90 degrees like that. We can trim this down for now. Now we can unlock it from or unparent it from our iPhone matte layer and then finish the rotation. So keyframe the Y rotation, go out another second. Or Jesus, that was a 2-second rotate, wasn't that? Yeah, let me zoom in here and make that 1 second long. So I'll take this, go over here, and line this up as well. Zoom in here one more time. Make sure everything is lined up. Okay, like that. And now let's rotate the iPhone back. Like this, 270. Okay, so we're going to have a rotate like that, iPhone back, and then it's going to rotate to the front. So now we can take our front, which is right under it, turn that on, and look, it basically fits right in there, and do the same thing. So trim this down, same as here, and actually we can trim it down to here, and parent it to the back of the phone. Oops, make sure I get that one right. Back of the iPhone back. I'm going to call this iPhone front. And let's do our rotation. So rotate from here, 1 more second, to 13. Oops. Okay, so it's parented, but it's not 3D. So just make sure that you hit that 3D mark. And so then when we rotate it to 360, it's rotated nice and flat there. Trim it down. Hit that R for rotation. Keyframe the Y rotation. And bring it back. Okay, now this is flipped around because we forgot one process. So I'm going to, I see that because we have our volume buttons on the right side when they should be over here on the left. So Command Z, and Command Z one more time. Let's see. And just make sure when you start it here that it's flipped around on the right side. So you can see my volume buttons are on the left when they should be back here, right? So all I have to do for that is just rotate the Y think it's 90 degrees. So then that way, nope. Is this still parented? Yeah. Let me Command Z, unparent it. Right here, I need to get those numbers on this side. Okay, so it's actually 180. Of course, 180. Okay, cool. So we've got that, and now let's resume to what we're supposed to be doing. So just make sure this is parented to the back. Okay, if you guys don't see that, just take the pick whip tool and boom, like that. Now we're parented, so that way when the phone flips, the front will flip as well. Right there. Scale it down, or trim it down. Take that Y rotation, keyframe it, go out one more second, and bring it back. So 270. Now we've got our buttons in the right place. Everything looks good. Let's see what we've got here. I'll just drop these down and see our nice little rotation. Boom, boom. Cool. So now you guys have your rotation in place. You can finesse this rotation just by going into the graph editor. So if I hit U, you know, we can easy ease these. So keyframe assistance, I know you guys don't see that. So just right click on the keyframes, go down to where it says keyframe assistance, and then hit that easy ease button to create those easy ease keyframes. Then we can hit the graph editor and create a nice logarithmic graph. Okay, so just take your handlebars like that and create this nice exponential graph like that. Okay, so it'll slowly start to turn and then boom, really turn fast. Do the same thing over here. Press U, and we can take these keyframes as well, and we're actually going to do a little something different with these. So I'm going to hit right click, keyframe assistance, easy ease, go into the graph editor, and we've got a lot going on here, right? So wait a second. Without that one selected on the top, select these three on the bottom, graph editor, cool, and the opposite of that last curve, so exponentially going down like that, and same thing over here, like this, oops, right there. Okay, so we have this nice little U. Now what that's going to do is speed up, slow down, speed up, right? Now the only thing I don't like is that it stops right here and goes back into it, so we can delete that. Middle keyframe, and that way it'll just keep rotating. And let's do that with this one as well. So take these keyframes, right click, keyframe assistance, easy ease, and graph editor, and end it off like so. Okay, just by taking the handlebars like that. And now you've got this little rotation into the phone. Okay, yeah, that can work. Just really play around with the speed of that little rotation to get exactly what you want. I don't want to do too much on this tutorial just because I don't want it to get too long. We're going a little over 20 minutes here. Now the other thing is obviously you can add motion blur, okay, just by adding a motion blur to all your objects. But before we do that, I want to show you really quickly how you can make these PNG files, which are really 2D objects, and kind of fake a 3D look. So I'll just take this guy for an example and go to Layer Precompose. So just precompose your iPhone front, and I'll call it the iPhone front 3D layer. Press OK. Double click that pre-comp, and now all you have to do is just make sure it's a 3D layer, so select that, press Command D to duplicate it, press P, and right here in your Z position we're going to push it back into Z space 2 pixels. Okay, Command D, Press P for position, do the same thing, add another 2. So that would be 4. Press Command D, P, and 6. Command D, P, 8. Command D, P, 10. Now what that does is just add this iPhone back into Z space, 5 extra times. So if I press R for rotation on this bottom one, first, actually before I do anything, make sure you select these, select them all, and make sure they're all parented to our 6th layer. So make sure that they're all parented to this first guy. So that way when we take our Y position and rotate it, there will be almost like a bevel edge or a thicker edge to it, right? So I can show you here, if we close these down, select them all, hit that little caret button. So if I just select our top 5 and hide them, see, it adds the thickness to it. So there it is, there it isn't. Thickness, no thickness. Okay, so that's just a way of adding a fake 3D look to it. So I'm gonna hit R for rotation, put it back to 0. So now when we go back to our composition, okay, the only other thing you have to do is make sure you rasterize it, right? So this little square box right next to this little hiding guy, click that, and that will add your 3D layer to it. Okay, so you can see it right there. Just make sure it's in there, and that's how you can create a 3D look on these 2D PNG files. And then the last thing I would do is just select all of them and hit that motion blur and motion blur on. So that way when things are, they're really not moving that fast, but this guy's moving fast. What we can do is on this turn, instead of making it a second long, maybe a half a second, and then drag this guy back into place. So zoom in here like that, and so now we have a nice little motion blur. Cool. And because we have the rasterized layer, you can see that I can't add that motion blur, so I'm going to put the motion blur in here. Make sure that they're all turned on, and go back into here, and that should, there you go, turn it on for the layer. So that is how we create our new Google Pixel iPhone commercial. Obviously, once the phone is all turned around, you can add stuff to the screen. You can add a text like I did here, just a simple, fade in text or whatever you want, okay? And that is how you create the Google Pixel iPhone commercial. Okay guys, I hope that tutorial helped you out, and if it did, please leave us a like and let us know in the comment section what other type of video effects you guys would like to learn. I know this one, someone asked about it, I think a couple of tutorials ago, so we try to hop on them as soon as possible. With that being said, this is VideoFort on Magic Bard, and I'll see you guys on the next one.